So nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Thanks. And hi, everybody who is out there with us this morning. I want to see, make sure that I can see the comment thing. Oh, there it is. All right. So now I can see the comments over on my side screen. So what have you been up to, Lisa? I'm going to talk a minute about what I've been doing, but you tell me first. What have you been doing? How are you? What's going on?
I'm good. Paul was gone for a couple of weeks, and so I've spent a couple of weeks trying to re-find my house from all the projects I had going. So
Oh, gotcha. Seems like whenever Bill would be gone, I could get so much done. Just one of those things, right?
yep, twice as much.
Comes home, but
Not that it's Paul's fault, but it's just for some reason I get a lot more done when he's gone.
I just think it's the dynamic, that has it. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I missed being on last week. Lisa, I had already mentioned to her that we weren't going to be, I was going to do it solo. And then I wasn't even able to do it solo. So thank you for being patient, everybody. As y'all saw on the notices, yes, hallelujah, I got moved in. I don't know if I've ever been so happy to actually get moved in someplace. So we did get the closing done, and y'all, it was up till that morning. Literally, the reason I wasn't be able to tell them because they were still working on final somethings. So I did a different thing. I'm gonna just fill y'all in on a little bit of stuff. So many of y'all may or may not have heard about a reverse mortgage. Now, we did a reverse mortgage, and the problem wasn't the mortgage, okay, of all of the issues that we went through. I'll tell you about that if anybody's interested. But a reverse mortgage is a perfect tool for certain people, okay? And we fit into that. Basically, it's a mortgage that once you get into it, it costs a lot to get into it, okay? It does. It takes a lot to get into it. But once you're in it, I will never pay another house payment the rest of my life. And I said, then they did an actuarial thing up till age 100. And I told the guy, I said, now, hey, listen, I have longevity in my family and I intend to live longer than 100. My mother's already committed. She's 95 to living. She's committed to having a party at her 100th birthday. So I'm explaining, and he said, Deletta, they just use that because that's normally what, the length for people. He said, you can live to 200 and you will never make another payment. You will never have to pay any upside down, whatever. So for some people, that's a really good mortgage. If you have a house, okay, I guess this is real estate 101. I'm going to give you a little bit this morning. If you have a home that you've raised your kids in, a family home. That is not Bill and I. We've had multiple homes in multiple places, and our kids are never, trust me, we tried to get them to come to Vegas. They had no interest. But if you have a family home where you've raised your kids and all that, and they want to step in after you pass and they want to have that home to continue the legacy, this is not a mortgage for you. So don't do it. I mean, it's just, it fits certain parameters. So anyway, that's a really great thing. And I'm really good at giving praise to people. My agent himself, Todd, was wonderful. He sort of held my hand through. I've been studying reverse mortgages for a year. We started looking into it a year ago. So this wasn't something that we just did spontaneous off the cuff. It was something we really gave major thought to. So anyway, we did that, and Todd was great. However, it was the underwriting department that held everything up and kept going back. And I am not going to give them a good review. I hardly ever give negative reviews on anybody for anything, but I will on this one. Everybody else, though, this morning is all about praising people in front of other people. And I'll tell you, it's a great thing to do. I like to do that because I love to share the knowledge and the gifts that other people have. Kathy Weaver is a great example of that too. Lisa is too. But I'm going to start out by my first praise to somebody. I'm going to give lots of praises this morning. To Lisa, y'all know her. I love Lisa. So many things that she does well. The main thing is that she has a heart of gold. She really will go out of her way to give in business, great customer service, but as just a friend and person to know, I just love your heart, Lisa. That's my
Thank you.
favorite thing about you. You're just wonderful.
Well,
And
it's well received.
thank you. And on here, and happy love, Christine. I haven't even reached out to contact you because I've been in non-contact mode. But I can't wait to get together and see you. So that'll be great. The other thing is, and I will give Lisa a chance to speak, I promise, but I have lots to say, I guess, this week. Both my kids, really have been so supportive. They're just so glad that we've made this move. And so I just want to reach out to them. Sometimes as parents, we don't always, well, I don't know. My kids get embarrassed when I, praise them in front of other people, but I like other people to know that they, Alicia has just been every single day. So, Mom, do you need anything? How's it going? You want me to come over? Just great little things like that mean a lot. And yesterday or the day before, the first thing we did was get rid of the electric stove and put a gas stove in the new house. So we put the electric stove out in the garage, and she said, well, Mom, you ought to put it on Facebook Market. And I said, Alicia, that just overwhelms me. She said, well, I'll just put it on. So she took my phone and she put it on. Now we haven't sold it, but it was just so fun. Just little things like that. It's always nice to have someone that can do those little things for you. So I'm gonna stop for a moment or two, give Lisa a chance. What did you think about that when I put that topic out today about praising people in public and out loud?
I had to think about it for a minute because it's like, at first I was thinking, well, it's not that complicated, and then, but then as I started thinking about it, there was all kinds of different things that started coming to mind about how you can praise people in public and do it well. And so, it actually was, the more I dug into it in my mind, the more I started thinking of things that you could talk about. And then I thought, oh, it's a deceptively simple concept when it's not really.
Well, and I think sometimes we just don't think about it. I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, when Jennifer used to be on the show, we were talking not exactly the subject, but this is what came out. And I made the comment like how I always like to thank our server. If we've had a good server, they've done a good job, when you're out having dinner or something, and just giving them, just thanking them for what a good job they've done. And then Jennifer said, and she said, and when I have somebody really good, I ask them to go get their manager. And I said, oh, wow, that's a great idea. And she said the server gets a little nervous because they're thinking maybe they did something wrong, because most people only ask for the manager when something is wrong. And she said, then I had the manager come over and I tell that manager how great that server did, whatever particular thing that you liked about, about her or him. And it's that extra praise to tell her manager how good she was. I mean, that's a really cool thing. And the truth is, until Jen said that, I don't think I'd ever done that. And I've now done it a couple of times. And it makes them like, first of all, when you give them the compliment, they're like, oh, thank you. And then when you say to their manager how great they were, it's like their shoulders go up, they're feeling a little better. They walk through that restaurant a little bit taller. So that's just one example of how you can praise people in public.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And, like I said, as I started thinking about it, I was like, there's certain levels of praise. There's the, hey, I love your dress. But then I started thinking about the fact that you can go a little more personal on things and still be, first of all, you need to give honest praise.
Right.
And so sometimes I don't really think about the praise that I'm giving. And I thought about the fact that I should probably think a little bit more and come up with more details so that it's not so, I hesitate to say this because it's like, I don't want everybody out there I don't want to make calculus out of praising people and giving compliments, but but I just started thinking it was like, you could say something like, wow, I really like the hue of yellow because it makes me it brightened my day to see your dress, or something like that, where it was, so it was more personal than just, I like your dress.
Mhm. Yeah, I do. I love that. When I'm going to take that to the next level. That what made me think next of this. So as a singer, people or speaker, or whatever you might do. So when somebody comes up and says, "Oh, you did a great job today," thank you. I appreciate that. But if you do take it to that next level, say, "Oh my gosh, I love that song, da 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 da. You sang it so beautifully." Or if you're speaking, "I loved your speech today. I really liked how you told us to XYZ." When you take it to that next level, it's not just an off the cuff. It shows them that you really meant it, that you really were actually paying attention. Because sometimes as speakers, we don't always know if people are paying attention or not. And so I think that's right, Lisa. If you can just take it and make it a little bit more personal and just show them that, it's something really from the heart, just not an, "Oh yeah, you did a great job."
Right. Well, and like those other compliments are great. But I know that for myself, sometimes when somebody's flashing kind of a generic compliment, and I probably shouldn't think this, but that's okay. I'm human. The thing is that sometimes you think that they don't mean it because they're just kind of being gratuitous in just a light manner. In other words, like, we're giving gratuities because that's what you do and you have to, and things like that. And so for when somebody points out something very detailed to me like that, and like you said, they're listening, and that they were paying attention, it helps me to also feel that compliment much deeper in my own soul. And like I said, that it's my own flaw to question somebody else's thoughts about a compliment. But like I said, that's, just a human
Oh,
flaw.
sure, sure. Well, and I think too that when we're, we've talked a lot about, when we're looking for good, we're going to find it. And very few people bring it up. I mean, very few people will say, "Oh, you did a good job. Thanks for being so nice." One of the things that I really appreciate is good attitude. I just love being around people that have great attitude. And I'm a way of giving some praise out there, public. I'm going to give some praise to My Camera Movers. We figured out that I think this was the fourth move that he's helped us with. He started his company in the early 80s, and we were one of the early ones in his business. He said, "Yeah, Dylan, I started one truck and now we have 12. But he always hires these young, like college or just out of college guys. So they're young and they're strong. And every one that we've ever had, they never complain. And sometimes, y'all, I have some really heavy furniture, and I know it's hard to move. And they just didn't complain. And I don't know, I just love that good attitude. And they just came in and did their job. Now you'd say, well, of course you're paying them to do the job, right? Well, no, we've had some movers that, yeah, we hired them and they did have good attitudes, and they whined and complained the whole time they did it. And I actually, if I had a choice, I wouldn't have paid them from that perspective. So when you have people that really have a great attitude about what they're doing, that's really important. And of course, I made sure that, and I made sure Mike knew that his guys did a good job. And my next level will be doing it out on, one of the things on their Facebook page and stuff. I'm a little behind on doing that, but it really does make a difference to them. And in many cases, from a job situation, that's what determines their pay, whether they get a raise or something. You have somebody come in your house, if you can give me a 10 rating, that really affects my thing. And I didn't know for a long time that giving a 9, you might as well give them a 2. If they don't get a 10, it doesn't really count. So I'm very careful about that. And let's see, Kathy, I added my roofing contractor. Yay. Those are great things. Because we do have a lot of resources where we can do that, and it helps their jobs, their businesses, and it lets other people know. Because I'm never going to recommend somebody for something, like a mover or whatever, if I haven't personally used them myself and can actually give a positive compliment about that.
Yeah, and just for those who don't see the chat, Kathy had mentioned that she gave praise to somebody on Facebook, and I remember seeing that actually before the show. So it's when you give compliments that stay there for a long time, that's nice too. So
Yeah, because nothing ever goes away on Facebook, right? Or out in the
well,
world,
technically, yeah.
so, well, and you look up something out there, so be careful what you put, don't rant too much. Because something, we had two, this is a little off the subject, but we looked up two things when we were in the apartment over in Shawnee. We were looking for something, two different businesses, and I looked them up, did them in the phone and looked them up, and both times, neither one were there. I mean, the business was there, it gave the hours they were there, it didn't say it was 2021 or 2019, but they were gone. It's like, okay, now how do we remedy that? It's a whole different subject, but it's
Yeah.
nice when you put it out there, because you're right, it's long lasting.
Right. Well, what do you think about some of the advice out there not to exaggerate compliments when you're giving them in public, or to be super personal when you're delivering those? What do you think about those two thoughts?
I'm not sure I understand how to
So,
be overdone.
so like, when you talk to somebody and you say, "Oh, that was the most grand party, and it was the best party I've ever been at," and you're not really, I mean, you're just saying that I don't know. I mean, I don't have an exact thing, but there was comments when I looked up praising people in public, and it said to not exaggerate, but to keep it in a range of sincerity. And I think sometimes we do want to over exaggerate and emphasize, and sometimes that can come off as unsincere. But I just was wondering about what your thought was. But but I know that, like, you mean everything you say, so that's like why you were going, I think, what do you mean exaggerate?
Yeah, I think probably in large gatherings, like if you're in front of a big group, there probably are those times where you may make it more grandiose, something that you might be saying. But I would go to the fact that you mentioned earlier. Anytime you give any kind of acknowledgement to somebody, like you're introducing somebody on stage, you can make it big and you can make it boisterous, but make it real. I mean, just, what is the thing about this person? And the truth is anymore, and I think Kathy will attest to this as well, because she does a lot of speaking and a lot of introductions. When we introduce someone, your audience doesn't want to hear, went to this school, that school. I mean, this whole list of just what we used to think were the accolades, we used to want to hear, oh, she went to school there, and oh, she got that, and she's in Who's Who.
Yeah.
That isn't really what the audience wants to hear. A little bit, yeah, because you want to show your credibility of what it is. So when you give them your resume or whatever, your introduction sheet, but when you're introducing somebody, pick out those personal things. Lisa went to, da 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 da, and that's why when she talks to you, she is going to give you every bit of information that you need to handle this problem. She is an expert in this area, so that you're showing them by having you there. It gives you great compliment. Lisa, since I'm using you as my example, gives
Right.
you the compliment, but it also shows them why, because why do they care? Okay. They're out there and they don't really care that you went to blah, 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 and 15 pages of things that you did and the awards you won. A few are nice, but they want to know, how are you going to help me? So by praising you and saying that, but at the same time using that to show the congregation, the audience, what it is that you are going to bring to them to make their life better. And I think that's, personally, that's how I feel is a better way to go with that.
In marketing, they tell us that anything over 3 vanilla accolades is something that you need to just drop off. In other words, like you were saying, she went to Oxford and she did this, and if you just continue with a list of 10 to 11, the audience has psychologically tuned out after about 3, sometimes 2 even.
Could be. And I've been places where it's like, all right, come on again. What? I don't really care about all this. Tell me, what is she going to say?
Yeah.
What are they going to talk about?
Yeah.
And Kathy makes a good point over here too. She says, accepting praise is a skill. Absolutely is. Saying thank you is all you need to say. I mean, don't
Mhm.
like, oh, thank you, but, I mean, don't, this whole thing, women are great about that. Oh, you look so nice. That dress looks great. And oh, this whole thing, I've had this for 20 years. We don't care that you've had it 20 years. Just say thank you. It looks nice on you. Or I wouldn't have said it in the first place, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why we want to dismiss compliments, but I think we don't, I think that's part of self-esteem. It is something that I've changed over time myself. I used, if somebody said you were, oh, you look like you've lost weight. Oh no, and you just miss it. Now I just say, oh, thanks.
And just accept it, and it's
Yeah,
just
let it drink in, and then go home and say, hey, maybe I did.
right. Another thing is whenever we get the chance, so it could be, and a lot of you do Zoom calls a lot, and so as you're doing Zoom calls, you may be in those situations where sometimes there's a speaker, sometimes you get that opportunity. I would just say, anytime you have the opportunity to build someone else up in front of the Zoom class, in front of the webinar, whatever your situation, because there's so many different kinds of situations, to always use those opportunities to make somebody else feel better. How can you make their day? One of the things that I've seen done is that if you have someone that just has a particular niche, something that they do really better than, and I'm gonna do it out to Debbie Miller. She's not on here this morning, but she took it upon herself. So there's a thing called Dub. It's a way of doing videos through email. Okay, and so I'll let her know that I'm pointing her out. But the thing that's really cool is that she's now known as Debbie Dub Miller, because she does them really well. She didn't know how to do it at all. She said, I'm going to learn how to do this. And she has, and she does a great job. And so that's one of those things that, when I'm on Zoom things and I have the chance to be in a room with her, Zoom room or something, and say, bring that out. It's like, Debbie Miller's just a pro at this. She learned it. She didn't know anything about it. So I guess Debbie, I could even learn that. So, and that seems like a thing, but it just builds her up in the eyes of other people. So anytime that we have a chance to do those things, I think is real important.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I'm going to give a couple other shout outs, and this is sort of my shout out morning. If you have anybody coming, now this is Kansas City wise, okay? If you have anybody coming into Kansas City that maybe you don't have room in your house to have them over, or they want to come in and just see the sites. We stayed at the Bloom Apartments, which my son was part of the development of those. So I'll give him a shout out. They're great. They are so fun. And although I will say, and it turned out to be a good thing, 20 steps from the floor to the apartment. Okay. And that was the first level. Okay. So every day, 5, 6, 7 times up and down those 20 steps. So I think I got in a little better shape. It was my own workout class, but they're really great. Oh my gosh, the apartments are so cool. But so they did a contract with this group in Kansas City called Cozy and KC. And they took 2 of those units and turned them into, for lack of it, so y'all know what I'm talking about, into like a VRBO, temporary leasing situation. So you could do 1 night or 5 night or 10 night. We were there for a month and a half. But they did such a great job. It was so just so comfortably done, everything we needed. So I'm shouting out to Cozy and KC. They have them all around. They have 70 of these temporary rental units that you can get. So if you have somebody coming in from town, or you want to stay towards downtown, maybe if you're going to a concert or something. So anyway, shout out to Cozy and KC because they did a great job and very, very friendly people to work with. So we give that. Also, I'm going to do for a Fun Fearless Female in Las Vegas. So y'all don't think I only talk to Kansas City since I'm here in Kansas City. But see, now Lisa and I have us represented both sides. I'm in Kansas City, she's in Vegas. So keep that. So the Fun Fearless Female gals have decided to continue on. And they had like a board meeting lunch the other day. And I haven't heard the details. I have a meeting with them later today. But I want to just really give a shout out to Terry Beatty and to Chelsea Dembo. They've decided to co-chair the event. So they're going to be getting the information out and just really stepping up to the plate. Both ladies have great skills. So just a shout out to them for saying yes and putting it together. So I want to know, does anybody right now have a shout out you'd like to give to somebody else? And we don't have to know them. You could just say Susie, whatever. Do you have a shout out? Because I love to see shout outs to other people. And Barb, good morning. I don't think I had said good morning to you. So Barb is my, every time we're together, we go to church. I mean, it just, every time it's so cool. We have a great faith walk together. So Barb, it's great to see you. And she also is a great spirit partner to be, if you ever need somebody to be praying for you, she is the one to do it. So
That's
anybody
awesome.
want to put it up there and have a little shout out to anybody? This is your time. Just shine on somebody else. All right. Well, Lisa, any final thoughts? Did I lose you guys?
Yeah, sorry about my internet issue. The last thought that I have is that using sincere compliments can be a relationship bonding experience. And so, even if you are complimenting a stranger, I think that when you're networking and things like that, bring that positive energy and use it to build your relationships with people. It's just a wonderful, pleasant way to meet and to greet and to interact so that, I don't know, it's just life is better. Life's always better with compliments.
Absolutely. And, we talk a lot about networking, and that is absolutely true for networking. If you're looking for the good in people, so that's where we start, giving that compliment of and I notice hair. Okay. That's just one of the things that I notice in people. So it's very easy for me to like, oh, when I first walked in, I noticed you and how gorgeous your hair is. Matter of fact, just the other night, I told y'all, right? The neighborhood had a little gathering, and this lady had this wonderful thick, and it wasn't silver, it was really white hair, cut very short, but very, I don't even know how to describe it.
Manicured.
It was a short cut, but the way that it did was so gorgeous. The whole table heard me compliment her, but I really meant it. Her hair was so awesome. And I think it made her feel good. This, somebody noticed.
I'm sure it did.
So it really is just finding that it is a way to break down barriers. It's a way to get somebody to, oh gosh, that's so nice. Well, I noticed you're here for the first time, and just take it to the next level, try to take the conversation to the next level
And sometimes you never know that person may have needed to hear just exactly that today.
Could be. I'm going to reach out one more time. Kansas City, I have got to find a hairstylist. Okay. I got to find somebody who I thought I was going to use. She's all booked up. So Kansas City area, I will drive anywhere. I'm not afraid to go across the border, across the river, or anything like that. Could be 30 minutes, whatever. I need a great hairstylist, great colorist. So reach out and talk to me. Okay. And then I'll give them a compliment. Oh my gosh. Moving does weird things to you, boy. The things you appreciate, the things that you notice, like, oh man, I need one of those. Okay, well, we are at the top of the hour, and I've kind of talked y'all's head off today. Lisa, sorry I didn't give you as much time to talk today, but I'm really glad you
That's okay. My internet was being weird anyway.
which it does sometimes. So, Anyway, love you guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And whether you're on right now or watching later today, just really appreciate you hanging in there with me. Apologize about last week, but we have moved on and moved in. So woohoo, thank you, Jesus. So glad to be settled in and just so grateful to, I look around and just, this is nothing to do with praising other people, but be sure to put the praise of the Lord in there too, because he does so much for
Well,
us.
he's
I
in
wake
other
up and-
people.
Huh? He is, well, he
I
is
said,
the people. He is
yeah,
the
he's the people, but he's other people. He has feelings too. So.
Yes, yes. And so be sure to do that, because so oftentimes we have so much to be grateful for, and he is the giver of all good gifts. And just praising him as you wake up in the mornings and I'm just like, thank you, Lord. I'm so glad. Thank you for giving us this house. Thank you for making it all come together. Thank you. I got to wake up in my own bed. It was so great. So the little things in life are so important. So, all right, guys, love you. Remember that life is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of choice. So choose wisely, go out, make it a fabulous week, and give some compliments and share them with other people. All right. Mwah. Love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye now.